Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mike. Welcome to Bonsai Pop. Today, I wanted to start a little bit of a discussion and continue another one. This is going to be a different kind of video than we usually do. I have no script, I have no bullet points, and I'm just talking to the camera, I'm talking to you. The main reason I'm doing this is to prove a point, and that point is that some things just can't be replicated. So as a lot of you guys probably already know, Corridor Digital recently put out a video called Did We Just Change Animation Forever?, which was a follow-up video to their anime rock, paper, scissors, whatever. These guys are visual effects artists, but they recently used AI to make a video that looked like anime, I guess. This video and the concepts within it have been all over the internet for the past week, and recently, Jeff over at Mother's Basement made a very good response video. His video was well researched and it was, informative, so I highly recommend going and checking that one out. But for me, I wanted to kind of do the Bonsai Pop thing and kind of do it my own way, responding to this problem that's been going on, this debate that's been happening over this concept of AI-generated anime, AI-generated art. Now, before anybody just starts writing in the comments saying like, oh, here we go, another AI hater, that's actually not really the case with me. I think that AI utilized in the right ways can be very helpful and actually kind of funny. When you see those videos of like Obama and Biden and Trump playing video games, I think those are hilarious. That's great.
Hey guys, did you know that in terms of male human and female Pokemon breeding, Vaporeon is the most compatible Pokemon for humans?
I've even considered doing some myself as like funny shorts of Biden reviewing anime, but that's besides the point. It doesn't take a lot of time or energy to see that in this video that Corridor created, there's still a lot of problems. It's pretty ugly. Jeff pointed out the hands multiple times, the face morphing and liquefying and all that stuff. And of course, there's been a ton of backlash, and naturally, Corridor Digital is doubling down on everything, kind of being giant douchebags. But what's the issue? What's the issue here? Why are people upset? Well, people are upset because when it comes to the industry of art, when it comes to the people who create art in the first place, it's something that you struggle with. And when I say art, I mean anything. I mean making movies, making videos like we do, making music, making art in the literal sense when it comes to painting, when it comes to drawing, when it comes to digital drawing, when it comes to anything that is created through expression. And when you get down to it, that is what art fundamentally is. It's expression, dance and acting and writing. And just about every single one of these expressions that I have just listed off are things that technicians within the AI community have tried to recreate, obviously using computers and algorithms and technology and, whatever they have at their disposal in order to make the best product, really, is what you would call it, that they possibly can. As somebody who went to college and dropped out for computer programming, I can understand the excitement around something like that, making something new, making something that people have never seen before. The problem with it is whether it's kind of moral or not. And obviously I can't answer that question. I'm not the moral police. I have my own personal opinions, of course, but there's aspects of this AI generated content that are very questionable. First of all, I'd like to point out that calling what's being used right now artificial intelligence is a stretch. This isn't artificial intelligence, it's just artificial recreation of ideas that already exist. The way that current AI works is that it basically uses a folder of things and goes through it to make something that you asked it to, more or less. However, because it's not intelligence, it's not creating what it makes, it's compiling and shitting out what it makes. Of course, these products of AI can then be tweaked by engineers and other people that have those kind of skills, but when it comes down to the programs themselves, that's essentially what they're doing, which means that if you put something on the internet and you have an AI that simply pulls from anything it can be pulling from what you personally created with your own two hands and the thoughts inside your head. Now, when it comes to art, Animation is one of those things that a lot of people don't really think about. Obviously, people who watch my channel think about it quite a bit, or hopefully they do. But when it comes to the way that people in animation are treated, it's really bad. Most of them are paid basically nothing. They're used, they're abused, they're kicked to the curb whenever they're not useful anymore. But without them, most of our favorite productions would not have the same flavor. I guess that's an understatement. They would not have the same flavor, because art is an expression of individualism. Every line, every etch that somebody puts into something is a part of their own personal human experiences. And again, I work with technology. I don't hate computers. I don't hate science. But what I love is people. Every moment that we live is a new experience that adds on to the multi-layered book of who we are as individuals. And that's something that simply can't be replicated by a program, at least not at this point, and hopefully not in the future, because I don't know, you've probably seen The Matrix. It doesn't end up good in fiction, right? So probably wouldn't end up very good in real life. Regardless of existential terror, because these things can't be replicated by programs, I don't think that they necessarily should be replicated by programs, at least not in a way where it's used to make a profit or to erase the humanity that created these forms of media in the first place. I think one of the most insulting things that Corridor did was used Vampire Hunter D as the basis for their video and the basis for their AI programming and everything like that. Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust is personally one of my favorite anime films of all time. Yoshiaki Kawajiri is one of my favorite people that work in anime, period. Obviously, if you're a fan of the channel, you know that. His style is beautiful. He's worked on so many different excellent films. I love this guy. And I don't think that his style should be replicated by a program, I guess, you know what I mean? And I know that sounds weird because people replicate things. That was something that Jeff pointed out in his video. Again, I really hope that you guys go watch that. It is much more technical than mine. But I can speak from personal experience that when I began doing anything, right, I would copy first. I've been playing guitar since I was a little kid, and the first thing that I did was learned a bunch of Blink-182 songs, and then I moved on to learning Taking Back Sunday songs, but then I moved on to learning funk and metal and fusion genres, hardcore, all sorts of stuff. And every single one of those experiences, every single one of those songs that I learned was something that I fused into my own style that is truly me. It's what I do, it's what I create. And the same thing goes for making videos. But what makes those creations special is that in order to make them, in order to get to that point where I was able to create something for myself that was wholly me, it took a lot of pain. It took a lot of struggle. It took a lot of work. Obviously, you've heard guitarists say, you know, I played until my fingers bled. That's something that happens. It tears you up. It cramps your hands. It's a nightmare to learn how to play a guitar. It is not a fun instrument, you know. Like, I remember learning the recorder and you just kind of doodle-oo. With guitar, you gotta really train your body in order to play that instrument. And when it comes to making videos, back in 2014, I decided that I wanted to make my own videos after, you know, really getting into, believe it or not, Markiplier, JonTron, the Normal Boots guys. I was like, I want to do that too. This is cool. You know, these guys are basically television channels for people like me. And the journey from that time till now is, I mean, there's no way that I could explain it in one video because there was so many things going on. You know, I started on this terrible laptop with a terrible microphone and terrible equipment while I was working full-time and trying to go to college, and you know, all of these experiences in one compacted into this ball that started rolling and eventually got me here. And really what came down to it was like, I didn't know what I was doing. It took me a long time to figure out how to edit. I had never touched a program. I'm not classically trained in anything that I do. I didn't finish high school. I didn't finish college. I have basically raised myself up to where I am now by pulling myself through the mud. And I know I'm not alone with that. I know there's a lot of artists out there in all of the forms of media that have done the same thing. And that is specifically what makes human beings and their creations exceptional, special, and unique. And more importantly, putting a price on that is kind of demoralizing, but also impossible, right? There's so many philosophical questions about what is the value of art. And I don't have an answer to that, but I think, like a lot of people say, art is in the eye of the beholder. But what I definitely can say is that AI art is not art. And going forward with that, AI anime, in the way that we're seeing it thanks to Corridor and the programs they're selling and the, whole how to do it tutorials that they're selling, that they're trying to monetize, is not art. It's essentially, when you boil it down, it's get rich quick schemes, right? I mean, we saw the same thing with NFTs. We see it all the time. The media world has changed. There is a constant demand for content, and any way that you can produce it faster and cheaper is something that people are going to take advantage of. And it's not just something that your average Joe is going to take advantage of in order to, become famous on YouTube, or to sell a bunch of stuff on the internet, or to sell a program to somebody, Corridor, showing them tutorials on essentially how to steal art and make really ugly videos. It's all get rich quick schemes, but it's not just allocated to those people. It's also allocated to studios, super money hungry power mongers like Facebook. And I know that we're focusing mostly on animation and drawn art in this video, but when it comes to anything like digital art, when it comes to the idea of creating an image for your company, those are jobs that people had, designer jobs, and those take a lot of thought and a lot of effort. I mean, the Facebook that is one of the most iconic images in modern day society. Though I think it's like meta now anyway, but you know what I'm talking about. The second I said Facebook, the F was the first thing that popped in your head. Somebody designed that. And I know it seems like it's a very simple thing, but there was a lot of thought that went into that F. And as somebody that sat down and personally came up with the thoughts and ideas for the way that our channel looks and our channel presents itself, I can tell you exactly how much work goes into that. Me and my fiance sat down. She's an artist, and she's excellent, and worked a way to make the channel look the way we wanted the channel to feel through the videos. And that's something most of you probably haven't seen. I mean, everybody knows the tree. She created that tree after I told her what I was thinking about. But when we're talking about the banner, when we're talking about the font that we used for Bonsai Pop, when we're talking about the colors that we used for Bonsai Pop, and the background behind, the words where it scribbles, and the buildings within that picture, we took all of that and we planned it all together, and we produced something that was entirely original. And because it's original, it means something. And that, again, is what art is about. It's something that means something to the people that created it. When you are having a program do something for you, there's no soul in that. There's no heart in that. Yes, it can make funny memes, but it's essentially vapid. As a channel that focuses particularly on older anime and older animation, the idea of automating that is sad. I think that's really the core of it, is that it's sad, because when I watch old anime, specifically good old anime, and you look at the subtle details, the backgrounds, the colors, the food, the facial animations, somebody in Japan, or Korea, I guess sometimes, thought about that. They thought about what they wanted it to look like. They thought about how they wanted it to feel. They thought about how it would last into the future. And each and every single frame of those series were carefully crafted by people who care and people who not only had talent, but people who worked so hard to get to that point where they could create something and put it out in front of a giant audience. And that feeling is amazing, to be recognized, even if the person doesn't know your name, to be recognized for something that you did because it's beautiful. Bringing it back to AI and the get rich quick scheme idea of it is that this can take that away. This idea can, again, the erasure of the struggle, the human struggle that is art, can possibly happen. That could be a future that we're looking at. That could be a reality. And a lot of people are going to be like, well, why? You know, if it looks like shit, if it is goofy, you know, how could it possibly become a big thing, you know, the thing we're going to see a lot? And the answer to that is that the majority of people who intake content don't really care about the quality. I mean, that's just a fact. You know, the most popular shows on Netflix are obvious, like they're generally the stupidest ones. You know, it's the Married at First Sight. It's, you know, whatever thumbnail has a bikini booty on it. It's the drama, you know, reality TV shows. It's not the excellent documentaries. It's not, you know, any of the OG anime. It's trash. The average person likes trash. So if this animation is looking like trash, they're not going to care. I mean, look at music, for instance. When you turn on the radio and you turn to a pop station, most of those songs aren't written by the artists. Most of the music is, you know, it's formulated. It's a formula. You got a beat that goes, and then you got keyboards over it that aren't even keyboards. They're synthesized through a program. I can literally do it in 10 minutes.
I love your hands because your fingerprints are like no other. I love your eyes and their bluish, brownish, greenish color.
It's just, it's the bottom of the barrel. Make people nod their heads, you know, make their drive to work like simple, whatever. You know, it's most of the content that's put out is made for the most common denominator, just the average person. So yes, it's very easy to sneak this kind of thing into the mainstream and then profit off of it greatly and continue to do that and make it the baseline expectation. So let me give you another instance of this kind of thing, right? There are vinyl nerds out there, right? I'm one myself. The reason that people like vinyl is because it is uncompressed audio on a physical piece of media that you can actually use without electricity. It has a warm sound. It has a different feel. There is you know, you can listen to it through audiophile headphones and hear notes and tones that were in the studio that you wouldn't be able to hear from something like an MP3, which is super compressed. And that is a niche thing. Most people will just go on Spotify or whatever and stream their music, and that's totally fine. And I'm somebody who uses Spotify constantly. This video is not sponsored by Spotify. Spotify, hit me up. I will totally do a video sponsored by you. But again, the vinyl genre, very niche. Therefore, vinyls are expensive. And that's the thing that we're going to get into, is that animation, art, music, videos, anything that is being made by hand by real people is expensive. It's why we don't get anime that looks like Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust much anymore, because making a production like that is very expensive, and the talented artists that you need in order to animate that are very expensive. If you look back at our punk rock cartoons video, I talk about how companies want to make what? All the money. Profit margins need to be up every single year in order for them to keep their board members happy, their shareholders happy. Well, if you're an animation studio and you have this new tool that will undercut all of these people that you have to pay, that's a really good way to increase your profits, increase your output, and make your shareholders happy when that year you made, you know, 1.5 times the amount of money that you made the year before, because you didn't have to pay a bunch of people that worked their entire lives to develop a skill. Human beings are unique, multifaceted creatures. We fall in love, we get angry, we get in fights, we create. And it's something that is more or less unique to our species and our cultures, and it's something that many of us need to do in order to survive. I personally struggle with pretty severe mental health problems. I am bipolar. This makes it very hard for me to do what I do, and it's something that kind of kicked in halfway through it. Every video, every script, every time I sit in front of the camera, which isn't something I do very often because it makes me uncomfortable, is something that I really struggle, especially lately. It's very difficult. But the reason that I do it is because I want other people to know how I feel, and I want other people to know that I know how they feel. Even if it's not 100% on both of our sides, it's important to reach out to each other through art or appreciation of art and animation, and to create a community around that stuff. And when I think about these get rich quick schemes, because again, that's what AI is right now, is get rich quick schemes. You can have AI write your scripts for you. You can have AI edit your videos for you. You can have AI narrate your videos for you, and make it sound like your voice. But it's never going to have the subtle nuances of the person that you are on the inside. Yes, it's easier. Yes, it makes the process more streamlined, but it's not the same. And no matter what, it's never going to be the same. It will get better, and I think that there are aspects of it that can help the industry for sure. It takes some of the burden off of people, but when it comes down to it, you still need the people to create the product. You need the people to put their heart and soul into what they make in order for it to be able to truly communicate to the heart and soul of the people who are receiving it. So like I said, Jeff did an amazing job over on Mother's Basement explaining, how he felt, as well as the really technical side of the problem with this quote unquote, did we just change anime forever? This AI generated, animation. But like I said, I wanted to talk about the human experience of the struggle that it takes in order to create something truly special, that just simply can't be replicated by AI, and the abuse of artificially created products, art, writing, everything that falls under that category, to create get rich quick schemes for people who don't have either the dedication or the talent, or most of the time they just don't care about what they're using in order to make the money. They're more concerned about money rather than the actual art form. I mean, if they were concerned about the art form, if they loved the art form, that's what they would be doing. And even if they weren't doing it professionally, they would be doing it because it spoke to them. The core is that they want to make money, and they also want to make pyramid schemes. So, maybe you using their program and using their tutorials, you could make money, but you got to pay them first. It's messed up. And it's a practice that can be abused by companies that, employ thousands of people and already treat them like crap. And that's a huge issue, because if they already treat them as bad as they do, which they do, they wouldn't have any problem treating them worse. So I would say I agree with Jeff. I think that at this point in time, we do, as people who are in love with animation and music and all forms of human expression, I do think that we need to just saying no to this kind of, did we just change anime forever? Anime rock, paper, scissors, corridor crew, whatever the hell they're doing. Just saying no to that, no to the exploitation, in the same way that we generally said no to NFTs. I do think that it's important that we come together as a community and we're outspoken about that, and we're outspoken in a way that isn't volatile, isn't just like one sentence, smackdowns on Twitter. None of that is ever going to help. This is something that, if you make videos, make a video on it. If you make art on it, and, be like, this is not AI generated. This came from me. This came from my ideas. This came from the things that I enjoy. Because without that, people are just going to accept this as the inevitability, and it's just going to take over the things that we love. And it's going to change the things that we love, and it's going to make them artificial. Artificial. Not intelligent, but artificial.